Two MVC powerhouses took the diamond at Marion Kinnear Field this weekend. Good afternoon and welcome to the Sports Zone. I'm Leo Staudaher.
And I'm Darnisha Mitchell. The two teams at the top of the conference standings played this weekend. The Sports Zone's Blake Hornstein has the story.
On Saturday, the MVC Best Illinois State Redbirds took on the Southern Illinois Salukis. In the first of two contests, the Salukis got on the board quickly, scoring a run in the first inning. However, the Redbirds were able to follow up with a pair of three-run innings in the second and the fourth. Ace pitcher Morgan Day was on the mound for the Redbirds, and after giving up a run in the first, she was near perfect the rest of the way. One earned run, one walk, and 8 strikeouts for Morgan, who had a day for the Redbirds.
I thought both pitchers were a little nervous. I thought it showed in the first inning performance. But then after that, I thought both of them settled down. I thought she settled down and did a great job.
Trusting my stuff, I'm going back to that because it is such an important key aspect in pitching, is just really trusting yourself and trusting your preparation for every pitch, because every pitch is extremely important.
The Redbirds downed the Salukis 6-1 in a complete performance. Morgan Day secured the win for the Redbirds, while Sarah Harness took the loss for the Salukis. Reporting for the Sports Zone, I'm Blake Hornstein.
The Redbirds won the second game of the doubleheader 4-3, but they would fall to the Salukis on Sunday 3-2.
Also on the diamond, Redbird baseball traveled north to Milwaukee to play 4 non-conference games over the weekend. The Bats struggled to get going as the Redbirds dropped the first 3 games, but it was a different story in the series finale as the offense exploded for 10 runs. They'll return to Duffy Bass Field this weekend to face Evansville in a conference series.
And moving on over to gymnastics, sophomore Angelica Labat represented ISU as the first gymnast to ever compete at the NCAA Gymnastics Championship Friday. She posted a score of 9.7375 on vault to cap off a historic sophomore campaign in Fort Worth, Texas. The Chesapeake, Virginia native wrapped up her second season as the 2021 Midwest Independent Conference Gymnast of the Year.
One Redbird climbed up the ISU leaderboards on the track this weekend. Kevin Koski ran the 9th fastest time in school history in the 10,000-meter run at the Virginia Challenge on Friday night. His time was also good enough to rank him first in the Valley. The track and field team will be competing in the Drake Relays this weekend.
Now on over to soccer, ISU's Abby Bassler and Priya Gillen picks up MVC All-Tournament team honors. Bassler led the team in goals, assists, points, shots, and shots on goal. Gillen had a stellar postseason performance. The redshirt sophomore did not let UNI convert a single penalty kick in the quarterfinal versus UNI to help the Redbirds advance on the tie-breaking shootout. ISU's men's tennis evened their play at home in Summit League action. For the first time this season, their team was able to play outdoors on their home courts as the Redbirds picked up a 5-2 win over Oral Roberts on Friday. However, the Redbirds fell to number 45-46 ranked Denver 7-0 on Saturday to wrap up Summit League play.
Staying in tennis, the ISU women's team finished the regular season undefeated at 5-0 following the 6-1 win over Valparaiso Saturday. ISU heads into next weekend's MVC Championships as the number 1 seed, looking to punch their ticket to a second consecutive NCAA tournament.
The swimming and diving team competed in their conference championship, and one athlete took home a coveted accolade. Senior Caroline LaCour won the MVC Diver of the Year award for the second season in a row, becoming just the second Redbird to accomplish that. As a team, the Redbirds placed 4-4 athletes were recognized with all conference honors.
The University High School Pioneers were looking to bounce back against Champaign Central Friday night. The Sports Zone's Eric Schweizer has the story.
Looking to avoid losing 3 straight games, the Pioneers got off to a quick start, scoring on their very first drive of the game and giving themselves a 7-0 lead. Scoring would be a common theme for the Pioneers in this one, scoring on all but 3 drives in the game. A pick 6 would extend their lead to 21-0 in the first quarter.
Wanted to start out fast, start out good, be positive all night long, no divisiveness, no talking back, no doing anything stupid, playing good solid football, and I think when you get ahead, it magnifies it quite a bit.
More offensive dominance throughout the rest of the half led to a massive 49-6 lead at halftime.
We just came out really hot, and the O-line just blocked really well. The receivers ran really good routes. Everything was just open. everyone just did really well at this game.
Both teams ran the ball for the majority of the second half and led to a 63-12 bounce-back victory for the Pioneers, and they improved their record to 2-3 on the season.
Tonight it was all going to be positive, or quite frankly, they were going to be off the team. It was that simple. And 3 or 4 guys, everybody bought in and shows what they can do when they execute, and they all pull in the rope the same direction.
The Pioneers capped off their final home game with a huge win against Champaign Central. After a big first quarter, it was all smooth sailing from there. Next week, they will play Jacksonville High School in their final game of the season. From Sports Zone, I'm Eric Schweizer.
The Pioneers will look to make their record an even 3-3 against Jacksonville on Friday night.
And let's check out some other high school scores from around the area. The Normal West Wildcats fell to Peoria 40-33 in a shootout. Normal Community wasn't able to get much offense going against Quincy Notre Dame 23-5. Central Catholic also had some offensive woes, falling to Joseph Ogden 22-3. The local schools will wrap up their spring season this week.
In the MLB, we start at Fenway Park for the second game of a doubleheader between the Chicago White Sox and the Boston Red Sox. The White Sox offense was red hot as they defeated Boston 5-1 to sweep the doubleheader. This also marked starting pitcher Michael Kopech's first start since 2018. Those two are in progress for the final game of their series today.
And staying on the diamond, the Chicago Cubs wrapped up their home series against the Atlanta Braves. Cubs right-hander Kyle Hendricks found himself on the wrong side of history in yesterday's game, becoming the first pitcher in Cubs history to allow 4 home runs in the first inning of a contest. The Cubs fell to the Braves 4-13.
And in another NL Central matchup, we're going to waste no time getting things started for this one between the Phillies and the Cardinals. Bryce Harper would get the scoring started with his monster home run in the first inning. But the Cardinals' Tommy Edman would provide a highlight of his own shortly after that with an awesome catch in right field, as you're going to see coming up here. Edman typically plays second base, but they moved him out into the outfield here. After this grab, though, it was all Phillies as starting pitcher Aaron Nola would get the complete game shutout, and Philadelphia would win 2-0. Coming up next, we'll find out what everyone is buzzing about on social media in the Smack Lab.
And later, we'll check out some of our top plays from the weekend in sports.
Let's find out what's happening on social media. Let's go live to the Social Media Analytics Command Center, where Anthony Ferretti is going to take a look at some of the biggest trends from this weekend.
Thanks so much, guys. As you mentioned, the FCS football regular season has finally come to an end, and over the weekend they revealed the playoff bracket. As you can see, 5 teams from the Missouri Valley Football Conference were able to get their bid into the playoffs. The biggest thing, South Dakota State, they are the #1 overall seed. Then we have Southern Illinois as well. They are happy to return to the postseason after they felt they were snubbed last year. Then we have Missouri State. They're making their first trip back since 1990. Then the Fighting Hawks of North Dakota, they're back in their first season in the Valley. And then North Dakota State, surprisingly, a lot of people are thinking, wow, what happened to them? They should be the #1 seed. Well, not doing as good as they've had in years past. They finished the season with 2 losses. One of those losses came to the South Dakota State Jackrabbits over the weekend in the Dakota Marker game. And as this user saying, NDSU Bison football, what happened? Because all people know is them being a dynasty. They've won several consecutive championships. That came to an end this season. They've won 3 straight national championships. So could this dynasty come to an end, or will they find some way to try and make that championship run? In other college football news, Trevor Lawrence, he got married over the weekend to his fiancée, Marissa, and he got a bunch of support and thank you gifts from Jaguars fans, and he tweeted that as a result, he's going to make a $20,000 donation to a charity in Jacksonville, and fans are starting to feel the hype a little bit as now they're thinking Trevor Lawrence might be solidifying himself in Jacksonville. They really believe he should be in Jacksonville. As of now, he is the presumed #1 pick in the draft coming up later, but who knows? Hopefully he gets drafted there, but he's not going to get his hopes up quite yet. He also took to Twitter after he did this profile with Sports Illustrated, and a lot of people were really coming at him because they were questioning his motivation as a player, and they believe that he should care about football 24/7. And in that response, he said he thinks people just misread what he was saying, that he's motivated. It's a huge priority for football, and he wants to win. But he said here that I don't need football to make me feel worthy as a person, and I purely just love the game. And he's kind of saying, I'm not going to buy into any of the hype, and he's a strong believer in God as well, that he's got a plan and he's going to take him to wherever he is. So he's just saying, let me be who I am, let me just be Trevor Lawrence in the NFL. And then some other football news on the soccer side. Some European teams, 12 of them to be exact, formed this Super League team over the weekend. AC Milan, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, Man U, just to name a few. They created that, so there's 12 as of now. They're expected to get 3 more that are going to be permanently part of this league. Also, 5 more teams are trying to battle their way in as well, and it drew some bit of criticism from some of the organizations. FIFA expressed their disapproval, and then the UEFA said they threatened to ban the players, but then they made it official earlier this morning that if they do play in the Super League, they will be banned from playing in the World Cup and Euros, which is going to be big, especially since some of these big stars, we've seen them in the World Cup time and time again. So it will be interesting to see if this league is going to be successful or if it's going to tank. But that's all I've got in the Smack Lab. I'm Anthony Freddy. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Anthony. And coming up after the break, we'll check out what we consider our top plays of the weekend.
Plus, we'll go back more than a century for this day in sports history.
Every week, we like to offer you what each of us thinks is one of our top plays we saw this weekend,
which might be in any sport and on any field.
So let's take a look at those.
I'm going to go back to Fenway Park for mine, where we have the Yerminator, Yermin Mercedes, crushing this one an estimated 431 feet. This was the rookie's 4th home run of the season, and it helped the White Sox get the win in Sunday's nightcap against Boston.
And for my top play, keeping it in baseball, out of the Mets and Rookies matchup, here's a dazzling behind-the-back throw from Mets pitcher Marcus Stroman. The ball landed about halfway between the mound and first base to Pete Alonso to get Josh Fuentes out. Stroman finished pitching 8 innings, allowing 1 run on 3 hits and 90 pitches to lead the Mets to a 2-1 victory over the Rockies.
My top play comes from college gymnastics in the national championship. It's on the line. Abbey High School, she needed a solid score for Michigan to win the title. Do they? They do. She got a 9.925 to give the Wolverines their first gymnastics national championship in school history. Now finally, before we go, we will leave you with this day in sports history. On this day in 1897, John J. McDermott won the first ever Boston Marathon in under 3 hours. The Boston Athletic Association got the idea from the event's success in the Summer Olympics the year prior. Since then, the Boston Marathon has grown into the oldest race in the world. The event was postponed in 2020 due to the pandemic, but there are plans to resume the marathon in the fall.
Should be exciting to see the resumed marathon. And that's all the time we have today, so we're going to thank you very much for watching. And come back next week for our last show of the semester, where we'll have plenty of coverage from high school to the pros.